talking. Rimple is there.
Yes, ma'am.
Rimple?
Yes, ma'am.
Rimple?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Should we start?
I think Dr. Farooq, we will start the meeting, है ना?
Okay, ma'am. Very good evening, respected Professor Dr. Petticoat, President NTI Delhi Chapter, Professor Farooq, NTAI, our special guest for today, our panelist for today, Dr. Lata Venkateshan, Professor cum Principal, College of Nursing, AIMS, New Delhi, Professor Dr. Rati Balachandran, former ADG Nursing, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and Dr. Millie George, Professor cum Principal, ILBS College of Nursing, New Delhi, and dear participants. A very warm welcome to all. As we all know that today we have gathered here to celebrate Teachers' Day, and at the very inception, I would like to recite a small doha. Guru Govind dohu khade, kaake lagu paaye. Balihari Guru aapne, Govind diyo bataye. A very happy Teachers' Day to all once again. All the lovely, hardworking teachers present here, it's my honor and privilege to be commemorating the birth anniversary of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, a great teacher and second president of India. So at the very inception, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Petticoat, President NTAI Delhi Chapter, a visionary teacher who has nurtured many students and changed their lives. I invite ma'am to welcome our today's speaker.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me express my happy and healthful and prosperous Teachers' Day to all the teachers who have groomed us and who have helped us to lead a successful life. We all know the teachers inspire hope, ignite imagination, and instill love of learning. Therefore, I express my gratitude to all the teachers who have shown us path of success of life. With these few words, I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Farooq, who is the national president, a very hardworking person and always helpful in helping us to do whatever activities we have, and also a very, very democratic person. I also welcome Dr. Lata Venkatesh, who is really a very, very, I should say, a very, very noble teacher and really an eminent in her subject. I also welcome Dr. Rati Balachandran, whom everybody knows. She was heading whole nursing at the national level and did a lot of work during the period of time. I also welcome Dr. Professor Millie George, who is also heading the institution of ILBS, a deemed university. I also welcome to all the dignitaries and all my colleagues who are attending this webinar for this celebration of Teachers' Day. I think most of the teachers will be busy. They may not either. We have not been able to reach to all, and by sending our this and the participation is very minimal, which I see, which has not happened before, but maybe whatever we will talk about this, as has been already discussed by Dr. Rimple, that Teachers' Day is celebrated in commemoration of our first Vice President and second President of India, Dr. Radhakrishnan. He was a visionary, he was a teacher of excellence, he was a promoter of education, and he was also a philosopher, and also then a politician. It happened so that when he became the president in 1962, he was asked by his followers that we want to celebrate your name as a special day. But what he said was that you just celebrate it as a Teachers' Day. That is how India is celebrating Teachers' Day every year on 5th September, which happens to be the birthday, and he was born in 1888. Not only this, The teachers, this is also celebrated for understanding the importance of teachers and the education in general, and also recognizing the key role of teachers in nation building, and also for helping the students. The recommendations of International Labour Organization and United Nations Education's Culture and Science Organization, that is ILO and UNESCO, they had submitted recommendations regarding the status of teachers on the 5th of September 1966. This was regarding the status of teachers all over the world, and this paved the way for international celebration of the Teachers' Day. And this was the earmark. And what happened later on, these recommendations, under these recommendations, the proposal for meeting the needs of the teachers, the situation of teachers, how to address the situation, what was existing at that point of time. These were also included in the recommendations. And it was then it was realized that we need the dedicated, we need competent, we need motivated, and we need educated teachers. The focus is on educated, competent, and motivated teachers. All the nations agreed that we should have these type of teachers, and the teachers are very, very different from the others, and they have a very significant role to play. The significance is in this because they are helping the students to shape their lives, to imbibe wisdom in them so that they can be the future leaders. I would just say two or three quotes which really are very, very important for all of us, to the teachers. As the honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi once said, I quote, "Teaching is not a profession, a way of life. Teachers' determination and sincerity will shape the destiny of nation as they lay the foundation and building blocks of the nation. The teachers should strive to work hard and remain updated to improve knowledge and skills to meet the needs of individual learners, as the parents and society has lot of expectation from the teachers." Dr. Radhakrishnan said, "A life of joy and happiness is possible only on the basis of knowledge and science." So when we think we know everything, so we should never have a feeling that we know much better than anybody, or we know much better than our students. That should not be the thinking which a teacher should have. So he said, when we think that we know, but then we cease to learn. So if we think we know, then we will cease to learn. We will not learn anything. True teachers are those who help us to think for ourselves. So this thinking and this principle we have to imbibe in our all the teachers have to imbibe in our teaching. The end product of learning should be a pre-creative man who can battle against historical circumstances and adversities of the nature. Because we see the teachers' conditions are very very limited conditions, in very stable conditions we work. And so the education should prepare us to also meet all these historical circumstances and adversities of the nature. You see what Aristotle said, those who educate children well are more to be honored than those who produce them. So he gives more importance to the teachers than the parents. Those who educate children well and more to be honored than those who produce them. For these only give them life, that parents give them only life. But those are the teachers, these give them the art of living. This is the Aristotle's world. Our beloved president, late APJ Abdul Kalam, said, "Teaching is a noble profession that shapes character, caliber, and future of an individual and people. If people remember me as a good teacher, that will be the biggest honor for me." So all of us should have this feeling in our mind that when the students say that they honor you, they respect you as their teacher, that means that is more than enough what you get in this thing. So similarly, the nurse teachers have a lot of challenges to face. These challenges need to be addressed by being good teachers. You have the challenges like alignment in nursing practice and theory. You have challenge like abrupt change in curriculum, and that has to be updated from time to time. You have challenge of technological advancement and digital health. You have research with a broader scope. You have enhancement of a faculty development. You have the challenge of standards of protocols and regulations by the regulatory body. You have the challenge of cultural diversity, and you have the challenge of economic concern. And it is with these challenges you have to move forward, and you also have to have the rights, because when the ILO and UNESCO recommendations were there, they were adopted when they were adopted in 1966, and these recommendations only served as a tool of jobs, as a tool of duties of a teacher, and not only the duties of a teacher, but also it served as a guide for asserting your right. So when we do our duties well, we have right to also assert our rights. Without doing any duty, we cannot claim of any right. So as a teacher, you have to act as a coordinator, you have to act as a role model, and you have to act as a leader, and you have to act as a director. So which will involve the whole system of your nursing education. So with these words, I thank you all, and I wish all the best to all the students and teachers who and students must take up the message, because they are the future of the nation. Youth of today are the leaders and the builders, nation builders of the future. So thank you very much.
A teacher is like a light who burns himself to lighten up the whole world. He shows the right path to the directionless. Moving further in the celebration, I would now like to invite Professor Dr. Farooq Khan for today's address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, present over here on this virtual platform today. Today is a big day for the teachers. So first of all, I would like to say a happy Teachers' Day to our teachers, honorable and respected teachers who are present on this virtual platform. Really, what the madam was telling, and I was listening the word, that teachers are the person who used to make, first of teacher is for a baby is a mother and parents. But parents can teach the baby, but what the teaching, kind of teaching the teacher will teach to the baby is totally different. Because some of the social life and some of the livelihood things, mother will teach to the child. But the noble thing and what the thing which is means the person has to adopt in his life for livelihood, the teacher will teach to that child, and make and shaping of the life is provided by the teacher only. And so today the thing has been given to me. So I would like to share of that one. Take time. One second. It is visible.
No, not visible.
One second. Now, when it is visible.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Can make it on slideshow.
Yeah, sure. So I have told the Happy Teachers' Day to all of you. And the thing what the national education policy we are going to discuss 2020. So before going to the national education policy, we must know what the meaning of policy, education policy. So education policy refers to the collection of laws and rules that govern the operation of education system. And why it is important to study education policy? Policies are important because they help a school or college to establish rules and procedures and create a standard of quality for learning and safety, as well as expectation and accountability. Because we know without any educational policy, no one student know that institute can't run the things and all according to the syllabus and the pattern of the study based on that policy only. And what is the role of policy in education? Policies are important because they help a school or college to establish rules and procedure in order to function effectively and ensure everyone is connected. School colleges create a standard of quality for learning and safety, as well as expectations and accountability. Because whenever the school and college will follow all the policies, they will maintain the standard of quality. And what the two notable observations from Supreme Court of India has been given. One, today's education failed to reform human behavior. And another one, with increase in literacy level, there is a decline in human values in the society. So hence, call for transformation in education system. And the Union Cabinet in July 2020 approved the new education policy, which aims at universalization of education from preschool to secondary level. So it is a transformation of education system which has been done. And I will briefly, I have taken some points, some silent features I have taken from NEP. So I will go through for that. What is the vision of NEP? National Education Policy envisions an India-centered education system, ICES, that contributes directly to transforming our nation sustainably into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high-quality education to all. So our NEP vision is very clear, means they want to provide a high-quality education to all. And how this high-quality education can be proceed. So that one we will see. National Education Policy 2020. See, in 1986, there were National Education Policy, NPE, based on access and equity. Accessibility and equity means availability of the resources, and equity must be there, means fairness must be there. But in 1992, it was modified that everyone has a right to education, and it was under the Act of 2009. I request all the participants, please mute your mic. And the quality of education, this NEP, a National Education Policy based on quality of education only, and it has been declared by the Union Cabinet on July 29th, July 2000. NEP design, they have designed a framework that there must be school education and higher education, and both must provide a quality of education. And what are the highlights of the NEP 2020? The new policy aims for universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio, GER, that all must join the education. In school education by 2030, their aim is up to the 2030, we will complete the 100% GER, and aims to raise GER in higher education to 50% by 2025. NEP 2020 will bring 2 crore out of school children back into mainstream. How it will happen? because they have modified the 10+2 structure, school curricula. They have replaced by that 5+3+3+4 curricular structure, corresponding to the age 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, and 14 to 18 years respectively. It will include 12 years of schooling and 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling. How it will work? Age 3 to 8, 5, age 8 to 11, 3, age 11 to 14, 3, and age 14 to 18, 4. Means up to the age 3 to 8, they must complete up to the 3 years. Means first, second, and third class. Age 3 to 8, they have to complete up to the third class. And age 8 to 11, they must complete 4, 5, and 6 class. And age 11 to 14, then further 7, 8, 9 class. And age 14 to 18, they must complete 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 classes. So here we will see previous academic structure. Previous was age 6 to 16, it was 10, and age 16 to 18, 11th and 12th. While now this new pedagogical and curricular structure means foundation, they have included that 3 years Anganwadi or preschool work, that age 3 to 6 years, and 2 years class first and second must come in 2 years, age 6 to 8 years. And while class 3 to 5 must included in age 8 to 11, and class 6 to 8, age 11 to 14, a class 9 to 12, age 14 to 18, secondary level. And what are the highlights of NEP? The NCERT will develop national curricular and pedagogical framework for early childhood care and education for children up to the age of 8. A national book promotion policy is to be formulated. All students will take school examination in grade 3, 5, and 8, which will be conducted by the appropriate authority. And board exam will be like that, continuous. Grades 10th and 12th will be continued, but redesigned with holistic development as the aim. So what is the NEP objective? Revamp the school education system, create world-class multidisciplinary higher education institutions across the country. What is the need objective? Increase the GER from 82 to 100% by 2035. To build world-class universities and to achieve high global ranking. And there are 4 pillars of NEP. What is that? Access means accessibility, resources, equity, there must be fairness, there must be equity, quality, they have more concern they have given to the quality, and accountability. There must be some responsibility and accountability to the institution and to the teachers and to the students. And now we will see the curriculum and pedagogy in schools. So what the NEP is telling, that learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. Must complete the 4 things: holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. So they are restructuring school curriculum and pedagogy in a new 5+3+3+4 design for cognitive development of the children. And holistic development of learners. The key overall thrust of curriculum and pedagogy reform across all stages will be to move the education system toward real understanding and towards learning how to learn, and away from the culture of learning as as is largely present
Happy.
today. The aim of education will not only be cognitive development. What it not included the cognitive development, but also building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individual equipped with the key 21st century skills. Specific set of skills and values across domains will be identified for integration and incorporation at each stage of learning, from preschool to higher education. Means the things they have included: holistic environment must be there, cognitive development must be there, and they must the skill must be there in a preschool, from the preschool to higher education. These all should be incorporated and integration must be there. Reduce curriculum content to enhance essential learning and critical thinking. How it will be? Curriculum content will be reduced in each subject. Means what the subject content now it is present, it will be reduced to its core essential to make space for critical thinking. Means they are more providing the research work and critical thinking, and more holistic, inquiry based, discovery based, discussion based, and analysis based learning. Means they are more providing the more concern to the critical thinking, inquiry based learning, discovery based learning, discussion based learning, and analysis based learning. The mandate content will focus on key concepts, ideas, application, and problem solving. Means teaching and learning will be conducted in a more interactive manner. Means this education is totally pedagogy education, and this NEP, one of the pillar of that pedagogy only. Teaching and learning will be conducted in a more interactive manner. Questions will be encouraged, and classroom session will regularly contain more fun, creative, collaborative, and exploratory activities for students for deeper and more experimental learning. Some of the silent features of NEP. Students now take a school examination which was conducted by the appropriate authority in grade 3rd, 5th, and 8th. And board examination for, as earlier I told, 10th and 12th will be continued, but will be redesigned with the aim of holistic development. Parakh, performance assessment, review, and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. A new national assessment platform will be set up. Means for that, Parakh means national assessment platform will be set up, new. Then mathematical thinking and scientific temper coding will start from class 6. From the class 6, the mathematical thinking and scientific temper will be start. Vocational education will start in school from 6th grade, which also include internship also. The 10+2 structure will be replaced by 5+3+3+4. The new system will have 12 years of schooling and 3 years of preschool. Till grade 5th, this policy will emphasize local language. Means till the grade 5th, all books must will be in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, means depend on the regional language, mother tongue, as the medium of instruction. At school and higher education, Sanskrit also be included at all levels as option for student, which include 3 language formulas. As an option, literature of India and other classical languages will be available. No student would be forced for any language. Higher education will receive flexibility. There must be flexibility. There will be flexibility in subject, and there will be multiple entries. What is that? Multiple entries and exit points with appropriate certification for higher education. So what is that? I will explain you. multiple entries and multiple exit. UG program can be 3 or 4 years with multiple exit option with appropriate certification in the period. Like certificate will be awarded after 1 year, means the student who is leaving the course in 1 year, that student will get certificate. Advanced diploma after 2 years, means the student is leaving the course in between after completion of 2 years will get diploma, and degree after 3 years, and bachelor with research after 4 years. If 3 years, the 4-year degree course is there, in 3 years the student is leaving, then also he will get the degree. But the student who is completing the whole 4 year, then the student will get bachelor degree with research work. Means last year will be completely research work. And they will make academic bank of credit. As we can see in nowadays, the loan also civil score is there. The person will have a much more civil score, will get the more amount of loan. So like that, they will follow here also. Academic bank of credit will be created, in which digitally academic credit earned by student will be stored through different HEI, higher education institution, and it will be transferred and counted for final degree. The curriculum in all subjects has been reduced to its core essential. The curriculum will be reduced. It will depend on core essential thing only. Through this, they focus on critical thinking, discovery, inquiry, discussion, and teaching based on analysis and holistic learning method for education. Regulator for higher education will be light, but it will be tight. Nowadays, at the time of Corona, we have seen e-learning, focus on e-learning so that can reduce their dependency on textbook. Under the new policy, education will get 6% of GDP earlier, and it was 1.7%, which will definitely boost the education system. By the end of 2040, they aimed that all higher education institutions will become multidisciplinary institution, and each of them will have 3,000 or more students. And in next 15 years, college affiliation will be phased out. College affiliation will be no more after 15 years. At least one large multidisciplinary higher education institution should be built in or near every district by 2030, and aim to achieve 100% youth and adult literacy. And National Testing Agency will offer a common entrance exam for admission in higher education institution. Means in every program, there will be an entry test and there will be an exit test. Means that affiliation will be not there, but NTA, National Testing Agency, will take over all the things. The student who has completed his degree has to pass exit test, and at the time of entry, they have to complete the entry test. So this is the that multiple exit and entry. We can see first year they have completed that certificate and diploma and the research work. Fourth year will be the research work. And as I told, credit bank. So academic bank of credit will be there. So whatever the student is learning, that credit points will be included and will be stored in that. So here we can see BCom, BCA, 3 years UG course, and last year, as I told, fourth year will be completely learn about the research. Last year will be completely depend on critical thinking and focused on research-based study. So what are the advantages of new education policy? The government aims to make schooling available to everyone with the help of NEP 2020. Approximately 2 crore school students will able to come back to educational institute through this new approach. for children up to age of 8, a national curricular and pedagogical framework for early childhood care and education will be designed and developed by NCERT. One of the merit of NEP 2020 is the formation of National Book Promotion Policy in India. Appropriate authority will conduct the school examination for grade 3, grade 5, and grade 8, while the board exam for grade 10 and 12 will be continued. But the NEP 2020 aims to redesign the structure with holistic development. So this new plan focus on setting up a gender inclusion fund, special education zone for disadvantaged regions and group is also in the focused list. Special daytime boarding school like a Bal Bhavan to be established in every state, district in India. This boarding school will be used for participation in activities related to play, career, art. And by 2022, in consultation with teacher and expert organization, NCERT, SCERT, the National Council for Teacher Education will develop a common national professional standard for teachers. SSSA or Independent State School Standard Authority will be set up by the states and UTs. According to the National Education Policy, an academic bank of, as I told, academic bank of credit will be established. The credits earned by the student can be stored, and when the final degree gets completed, those can be counted and it will be mentioned on the mark sheet. So this multidisciplinary education and research university at par with IIT and IIM will be set up in the country. These are scheduled to be set up for introducing multidisciplinary academy. Same list of accreditation regulation rules will be used for guiding both the public and private academic bodies. And as I told before, phased out college affiliation and autonomy will be granted to college. And by the year 2030, it will be mandatory to have at least 4-year BA degree for joining the occupation for teaching. For making the student prepared for future pandemic situation, online academic will be promoted on a large scale. But some are the issues. These were the advantages, and some are the issues may be faced in the new educational policy. In the National Education Policy 2022, language is a negative factor as there is a problematic teacher to student ratio in India. Thus, introducing mother language for each subject in academic institute is a problem because we can't find the teachers for each language, regional language. Sometimes finding a competent teachers become a problem. And now another challenges come with introduction of NEP 2020. That is bringing study material in mother language. It will be very difficult. According to the National Education Policy 2020, students willing to complete their graduation have to study for 4 years. While one can easily complete his or her diploma in 2 years, this might encourage the pupil to leave the course midway. Because the person is getting certificate or diploma in midway, so this leaving the course in between, it may happen more and more. According to the National Education Policy 2020, student of the private school will be introduced with English as at a much earlier age than the student of the government school. And the academic syllabus will be taught in the respective regional language of the government school students. This is one of the major new education policy drawback, as that this will increase the number of students uncomfortable in communicating in English, thus widening the gap between the sections of the society. These are the things which I have collected from the newspaper. अब स्कूलों में 10+2 नहीं 5+3+3+4 व्यवस्था चलेगी. So this they have told in Hindi that what will happen in the new educational policy. And this अब मातृभाषा में पढ़ सकेंगे बच्चे. एमफिल पाठ्यक्रम होंगे बंद, means एमफिल courses will be they will close एमफिल programs and they will start the program in a regional language. So here we have come to the conclusion. With the introduction of NEP 2020, many changes have been made, and one of this is discontinuation of MPhil course. Even though there are many drawbacks in new education policy, but the merits are more in number. It is believed by many that by implementing these changes, the Indian academic system will be taken a step higher. So this is all about the NEP today, and the questions, further the queries, the panelists, honorable panelists are here to discuss about all the points.
Thank you so much, Professor Farooq, for throwing light on NEP 2020 and elaborating the key points of the policy beautifully. So moving on further in this celebration, we will have a panel discussion on impact of National Education Policy 2020 on nursing. So our panelists are stalwarts in the field of nursing, and I would like to share my screen before I introduce all of them. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it is my proud privilege to welcome a teacher with infinite values and a name that needs no introduction, Professor Dr. Lata Venkateshan. Madam has 32 years of total experience in education, clinical and administration. Currently, she is working as professor cum principal in College of Nursing, AIIMS, New Delhi. And she has started many colleges, not only in India, but in Bhutan as well. She has organized several international, national, and state level conferences, workshops, and POTs of both faculty and student development programs. She has published several articles in index journals, authored textbooks. She's the editor of international and national journals. She's a member of board and various committees in various universities, as well as in AIIMS College of Nursing. And she's the founder member of Association of Nurse Executives of India, North Zone President of Clinical Nursing Research Society. So I welcome Madam Dr. Lata Venkateshan. I also welcome another eminent personality, very dynamic personality, Dr. Rati Balachandran. Madam has a vast experience of mentoring, developing midwifery and public health nursing students. She has worked in various capacities in Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. She is a ICT Health Policy Subgroup member since 2019. She has represented India at several international platforms, and she's an external assessor of National Quality Assurance Standards for Public Health. It's my proud privilege to welcome another panelist, the third panelist, Professor Dr. Minnie George. Madam has more than 35 years of experience in the profession. She's the chairman of Scientific Review Board, member secretary of Ethics Committee of ILBS. She's the master trainer of Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, Lactation Service, Prevention and Management of Acute Respiratory Infections in Children, Prevention of Diarrhea in Children, and master trainer for Prevention and Management of Malnutrition in Children. Madam has several publications in national and international journals and has participated as resource person at several national and international places. So these are our eminent panelists, and the moderator will be Professor Dr. Piti Kaul, and we have around 1 hour for the panel discussion, and for each point that we will be focusing on, around 5 minutes time is there. So I hand over the floor to Professor Dr. Piti Kaul. Begin with the panel discussion. Ma'am is there?
Thank you very much, Dr. Rimple, and I welcome the panelists for the panel discussion. Before I start the panel discussion, I would just like to share a screen for some comment. Rimple, you close that screen. Rimple,
Yes, ma'am.
close your screen. I will just share for some highlights.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is slide? I understand.
I think madam has some network issues.
Oh, no, it's there.
It's
Okay. Are you able to see it?
not yet, madam.
Not yet.
Is it visible?
Yes, madam.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, second slide.
Now we can see the slides, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
It is moving also. Yeah.
I just would briefly highlight the points which Dr. Farooq has already discussed. Then if we talk about National Education Policy 2020, what is the policy? Policy has been formulated by Government of India to promote education. It's a comprehensive framework to guide development of education in India. It covers elementary education to colleges in both rural and urban areas. And what are the recommendations of main recommendations of education policy? Overhauling curriculum, which has been highlighted. The easier board examinations also has been focused. There is reduction in syllabus to retain core essentials, that also has been highlighted. There is a thrust on experiential learning and critical thinking, which has been very well defined. The focus is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, which corresponds to the age 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, 14 to 18 years. Teaching in regional and mother tongue up to class 5. Phasing out single stream with aim at multidisciplinary by 2020, replacing UGC and AICTE with Higher Education Commission in India, opening up Indian higher education to foreign players, reintroduction of 4-year multidisciplinary is very important. Reintroduction of 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor program with exit options, flexibility to institutions to offer different designs for master's program, discontinuation of MPhil program, setting up of National Research Foundation. And so what is the main focus of the National Education Policy 2020? Self-discovery, independent learning, critical thinking, and creativity are the hallmarks. Vocational education has been highly focused. The hands-on skills are very important part of new education policy. The competency-based individualized learning has also been focused. The focus is on project-based learning, the experiential learning, e-learning to make teacher and student digital friendly. There is innovative exit and entry system, as has been very well explained by Dr. Farooq. There is also a transdisciplinary experiential learning, which is very important, transdisciplinary. Deep understanding of nature, self, and relation with the world. So whatever education is there, that is related to the world and whatever we do. Teaching in regional languages. The good points and bad points have been told about it. What will be the problems of regional languages, but this will help in good understanding of the students. Then the people have to be job creators, not the job seekers. The employability, because of this system of flexibility, the interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary, that will lead to employability, increase the employability. Then choice of subjects between courses of science and art. So this arts people can also opt for science subjects. When we talk about the multidisciplinary one, the science people can also choose the subjects which are of arts. What is the major area of implementation? What collaboration between center and state, sufficient funding, setting subject-wise committee with the members from relevant center state ministries, listing of actions to be taken by various bodies, that is HRD Ministry, State Education Department, Central Advisory Board of Education, school boards, NCERT, and NTA. And from time to time, the joint reviews are important to see what is the progress and what is the area of implementation. What is the impact? Impact of this is that we will be using educational technology to a greater extent in the teaching learning system. Delivery models can identify student skill, tracking, and they can also, the delivery models which are based on the educational technology can also identify student skills and track the students' learning outcomes. They reduce the gap between the current status to required practice of learning outcomes. And there will be getting rid of affiliations, because all the colleges are affiliated to the various universities. That causes a problem, because colleges teach and universities offer the degrees and prescribe the syllabi. What we can do, because here I just want to really emphasize that we as a body of Nurse Teachers Association, we have no protocol of discussing anything regarding relationship of national education policy to nursing, because it is the purview of national councils, Indian Nursing Council and state councils, and also the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. They are the stakeholders which can talk about the relationship of national education policy or the impact of national education policy. The nursing councils, the medical councils, the health ministry, they are. But as a citizen, we all have the authority, we all have the freedom to express our ideas. So we can only express the ideas and put forward what we feel about the national education policy in relation to nursing. However, the stakeholders, and we have no authority to make any recommendations for these, but we can put our points as the teaching body. So what is the context of nursing? That's why I have put the first important step is that there's a need to brainstorm on application of national education policy to nursing. So we cannot make any recommendations without any brainstorming with the stakeholders. So we have to do it. So we must begin somewhere. Programs are now geared to the generalistic approach. So our programs, which is BSc, GNM and all, these all are generalistic approach. There is not much that student can leave at one time and can do next program at another time. There is need for deciding about the intricacies, what is going to happen in the professional education system. Then giving and gaining skills are more important in health education. Giving and gaining skills. It's just we try to give the skills and we do not know whether the skills have been gained. Competency and proficiency for the teachers as well as the taught is very important. Uniformity of curriculum, though the curriculum is being prescribed by Indian Nursing Council, but in many places the teaching is not done in a uniform style of teaching. The redefining and creating uniform system. This is a great need, that we need to create a uniform system of education throughout the country. Assessment at regular intervals on well-defined parameters with focus on working in primary and secondary care hospitals. There needs to be task shift, because unless and until redefining of the tasks and task shift is done, the much cannot be done. There has to be flexibility. We have to also think about the multiple exit and entry options that stakeholders can think. And mostly we are interdisciplinary. The subjects, if we talk about the BSc nursing and all, we are already following it. We have been propagating this in all the meetings, that the nursing is already the interdisciplinary program in which there are subjects related to the various disciplines. And here we are at plus point. Then we have to also think of modular training. This can be the impact. If we think of modular training, the skill and vocation is already focused there. Use of technology enhancement tools. This has to come in a big way, and that has to have the uniformity. Faculty development programs and uniform continuing education programs. You can see the use of technology during COVID has really had an influx of all the different types of programs, and so many programs being repeated and repeated again. And that causes a really, so that has to be thought of. The uniform education program has to be continuing education program, whatever models and whatever ways we define. Then we have to, from traditional to the expanded role, because the nursing is going towards the expanded role, and you see that the nurse practitioner courses are coming up, but we have to do little more. Then health leadership roles are very important from the policy point of view. Then monitoring and evaluation has to be reformed. Code of conduct and codes have to be followed. Establishing centers of excellence and model centers are important, which the Indian Nursing Council is also thinking of. Coordination with various departments, with the various disciplines is very important, which has to be thought of how it can be done if we talk about the cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary education. This is what I just briefly wanted to talk about the impact of this thing. So this is what I talked about briefly, what exactly has the impact of national education policy. And as Rimple has already said, we will display also the questions, because the total time will be the 1 hour, and when you can give, there are 3 questions for each panelists. And I request Rimple to record the points, whatever discussions are there, please make a record of those points. So we will begin with Dr. Lata Madam, that we have said that focus of national education policy is on redesigning and reinvention of health education in terms of duration, structure, and design to match role requirement. How can nursing professionals achieve this goal?
Yes. Thank you, Madam. At the outset, I wish everyone a very happy Teachers' Day. And I thank the National Teachers Association for giving me an opportunity to participate in this important panel discussion. I think national education policy is not explored much by us, especially the implications, how it is going to redesign the nursing education needs to be explored. And I'm sure this panel discussion will enlighten us about the implications and where all we need to be modifying the curriculum or the governance structure or the methods of assessment, higher education in every area. What kind of redesigning will be expected to match the expectations or the recommendations of NEP can be discussed here. Especially when it comes to the structure, I feel we were concentrating upon the structure of the school education. Mr. Ramesh, could you please mute your mic?
I request the participants to kindly mute their mics. All of you kindly mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So when it comes to the structure, governance structure, there is going to be a higher education commission in India, and which is going to be an overarching commission. So all the National Medical Commission, upcoming National Nursing Commission, Pharmacy Commission, all will be under the umbrella of a Higher Education Commission of India. So that will be one of the major structural the reform in the governance structure which is being expected. And of course, it will also promote some kind of interdisciplinary mutually exchanging the benefits between the disciplines will happen, because there will be an overarching commission and it can promote the opportunities in terms of equity or equality, because usually nursing, when it comes to common budget, we do not have a separate budget for research or education. It is all merged with the medical education. Whereas when we are going to have an overarching commission, at least we can voice out to have separate budget or identity. I think the Mr. Ramesh, please mute yourself. He again unmuted. Just check, Rimple. So that is going to be one of the major difference or the change in the governance structure. And we hope that will be beneficial for the nursing profession. And then they are also planning to have a medical college in every district. I'm sure that must be applicable to nursing also. Every district might come up with a nursing college, probably government college of nursing. So we have to look at the opportunities for expansion, the quality, what kind of infrastructure, faculty, education system, which is going to strengthen this nursing colleges, which is going to come up in every district. So that is also proposed in the new educational policy. They are planning for expanding the number of seats, including the expansion of seats in higher education. Of course, in medical education, the number of seats are required more in higher education, whereas in nursing, the existing seats are not getting filled in private sector. And even in government sector, there are a lot of dropouts after joining. So we have to look into it. How are we going to increase the number of seats in higher education? Is it going to be in which specialties? What are all the upcoming specialties? How we are going to meet the expectations of the hospital industry? What do they expect from us? And appropriate cadre creation to utilize the talents and skills of the postgraduates. That has to be planned, which is already lacking, that we do not have any entry level cadre in the hospital side. In the new educational policy, it is also recommended to integrate the services and education. They are telling that even medical services and medical education has to be integrated. We have separate directorate for medical education, directorate for medical services. There is no integration. So they are recommending there should be integration of medical services and medical education. I think that is applicable to nursing also. We have to integrate the nursing services and education and appropriate cadre creation to utilize the advanced potentials, or the nurses prepared with higher education has to be facilitated. I think that can happen if there is an integration. And also coming to the structure of the program, they say that there should be a common foundation course. I think that was not discussed in our presentations. There should be a common foundation course for 1.5 years, and based upon the performance of clearing the subjects, they can opt whether they want to continue in medicine or pharmacy or physiotherapy or nursing. That is also recommended, which is a model in other countries, where the entry level course is called as a foundation course. 1.5 years they will study a common course, and they will branch out based upon their performance. So that is subjected to very high level of criticism among the medical fraternity. So is it going to come up? If it is going to come up, we are not going to have the students directly coming for nursing. They will enter into the foundation course, and in the foundation course they will be filtered. The best ones will go for medical education, and rest of the others will be diverted according to their performance to other courses. So that has to be looked at. And also they say that yes, we have NEET for entry level. There also should be an exit level exam. So that is also a point to be discussed. And when it comes to when they study for 1 year certificate course and 2 years diploma, 3-year degree, is it going to be applicable for professional education also? Because in professional education, you cannot leave someone after 1 year of preparation, 2 years of preparation and 3 years of preparation. I think that is not going to provide a competent nurse, because we require time to prepare them adequately in all the disciplines, and they need to practice and develop competency. As the education is focusing on competency based education, how we will ensure what will be the level of competencies if they have to leave at the end of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? The choice is left with the students. And many hospitals now, we have untrained nurses who are being employed, unlicensed nurses are there, and many hospital industries will prefer this 1 year prepared nurse or a 2 year prepared nurse, because they need to pay them less, or they will get a very quick manpower. So is it going to dilute the competencies of the nurses or the nursing care? That also have to be looked into, whether this structure is applicable to professional education, especially for medical and nursing education. I feel this structure has to be very critically examined. Otherwise, it is going to greatly influence the competencies of nurses, and by large, the patient care and patient safety. And 4th year, they say research, it should be exclusively dedicated for research, whereas we have internship for 6 months. So can we combine internship and research? Both can go simultaneously, and they also receive stipend in for 6 months in the final year. So what is going to happen to the stipend which is being recommended by the government? So those issues also have to be looked at. And the affiliation system is going to be scrapped. More importance will be given for accreditation. They want to bring the higher education institutions by clustering the multidisciplinary institutions in a district. So this also have to be looked into. The clustering is good. It will promote opportunities between the various disciplines. But at the same time, scrapping the affiliation and making only accreditation, all these, how it is going to disturb the system has to be examined. I strongly believe the Indian system so far, what is existing is, and most of the system which is being recommended is the overseas model, and each state has got a different model. There is no uniformity in the country like United States and other countries, whereas in India we have a overarching council, we have uniformity in education, all follow the same curriculum, standardization is there, and more importance is given on skills. I feel when that system is being disturbed, the autonomy has to be used correctly in a progressive and positive way. And this entry also, multiple entry, is also one of the question which has been asked. I think I will answer next. So as far as the structure is concerned, digitalization of the education is also encouraged. So there is going to be a NETF which is going to come, National Educational Technology Forum. So we must be prepared to develop the learning management systems, to give the prepare the content and standardize the content, so many institutions can be benefited. How are we going to partner with National Educational Technology Forum to digitalize the education? That is one of the newer emerging role which we have to focus and plan for it, how we are going to engage ourselves with this NETF. Similarly, with National Research Foundation, National Research Foundation is going to classify the research into clinical research and non-clinical research. So our nursing research, we do clinical research as well as non-clinical research, because nursing curriculum is broad-based. We have behavioral sciences, managerial sciences, education, and so if we do some studies related to non-clinical area, so whether nursing will be included under the clinical discipline or non-clinical discipline, or the Nursing Research Foundation is going to give the flexibility of submitting research proposal to either clinical or non-clinical to nurses. So these are all the areas we have to get clarity in the beginning itself, so that we are not being pushed into non-clinical research and lose the opportunity of clinical, or getting added into clinical research and unable to complement with non-clinical research. So we have to be very clear where are we going to stand, because we need the advantage of both. And so these are all the things. A national assessment platform is going to come up, and the kind of assessment they say, which is already there in the nursing curriculum, formative assessment, summative assessment, and also they say that it should be standardized. The new nursing curriculum has given the guidelines how internal assessment has to be calculated, how the question paper pattern should be, where what method of evaluation has to be used, how each unit learning has to be evaluated. I think very clear guidelines are being given, so that area we will not face any problem. Another area which is promoted is integrated learning with other medicine, other disciplines of medicine, not only allopathic medicine. They are also encouraging Ayush. So Ayush also has to be integrated, and they say that allopathic practitioners must be able to practice Ayush, and Ayush practitioners must be able to practice allopathy. So how are they going to draw the syllabus? Are we also going to change our syllabus to provide this hybrid practitioners that they will fit into both allopathic system of practice and Ayurvedic or Ayush system of practice? Ayush is 5 disciplines. It's not only Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha. No, each one is a separate discipline, separate system of study. So in nursing, which one we are going to take?
We will come back to this area. Let
Yes.
us go to other.
Yes. So these are all some of the aspects which we have to take into consideration as far as the impact of NEP on nursing education. Thank you, madam.
But I will request Professor Mini George to talk about the focus of NEPs on motivated, energized, and capable faculty. What steps need to be taken to achieve this?
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity, the National Teachers Association of India. Professor Pitikol ma'am chairing the session, Dr. Farooq, the dignitaries on the panel, Dr. Lata, Dr. Rati, and the participants, Rimple, of course, comparing the session. So coming to the topic that I was asked to discuss, I would like to say some of the aspects that we are already following and some things which needs to be done. Now that we have heard the NEP 2020, at the outset, I would like to impress upon the group that we know there are a lot of plus points. There have been a lot of changes which are anticipated, but the concern is in its implementation. How far are we going to be able to implement? On paper, it's good. We are moving away from a brick and mortar classroom to plus adding to e-learning, and teachers have to be equipped to do this. Yes, the COVID pandemic has in some ways helped the teachers go into online teaching modes, but it's more of trial and error. I don't think it's a very established or a very well-trained group that has gone through the COVID pandemic. Coming back to my topic, I would like to say, how do we motivate faculty or energize them and to build their capacity in teaching students given this NEP model? And of course, of primary importance is compensation. We know that the government institutes are compensating to a large extent, but when we look into the private institutions, teachers are not well compensated for the positions in which they are employed. And so compensation, if this model is to be widely taken up both by the public institution as well as private, there should be an equalizer to look into how faculty is going to be compensated equally in both the sectors. Then faculty needs to be given chances for professional developmental opportunities. We know that these are on paper, everything is available everywhere, but it doesn't happen in a very proper manner that as we expect. Then another avenue is valuing these faculty, looking into their welfare, retaining them. Once they're well trained or they are experienced, many move out, and then we are losing these people. So retaining these faculty who are trained. Of course, the NEP talks about giving good basic infrastructural facilities. All this has to be we have to wait and see to implement. Saying these things are not going to be easy. Campuses having supplies, equipments, library, lab, technology that these teachers need, simulation labs and others, which each institution needs to continue with this particular model. Then reducing the teacher student ratio, which means taking more faculty. If the number of seats are added, again, the number of teachers accordingly has to. Now the workload of the teachers definitely increases in the NEP model, and they need protected time for preparation. And that's another aspect that has to be worked out, really worked out, as to each module, how much preparatory time would you give the, and freedom to design the curriculum and follow the curriculum, and giving incentives for faculty for when they are showing excellence in their performance, rewards, promotions in time, fast track promotions, and recognition, and moving them up the ladder for certain leadership positions when you find them be fit for the particular position, like probation periods and immediate confirmation when the probation period is over. And all this should, I think, begin from the positive preparation experience of the faculty from the time they are prepared. And we need higher level prepared faculty, experienced, and we need experts in doing these NEP modules, and mentors. I think there needs to be support group of mentors whenever these faculty members face challenges, they want help, especially in the beginning of implementing NEP. There needs to be a group of mentors whom they can directly get in contact, refer for their various needs. It may be subject-wise specialities, or even implementing the different modules, how to implement a modular learning, and peer support groups, and they should have facilities for teaching, and again, they should have transformational leadership. the leadership who's going to help implement this NEP model in an institution, whether it be a college or a university, the leadership itself has to be highly motivated, knowledgeable, to be able to implement this. So when a faculty needs the support of the leadership, so definitely we need transformational leaders in these positions. And when there is actually transformation leadership, what happens is it leads to psychological empowerment in the faculty. This leads to giving them an intrinsic motivation to do better, and also for knowledge sharing with their other faculty or maybe with the students. All these things together leads to a innovative work environment, and all this has to be clearly divulged into, looked into, how step by step can we do this. Theoretically we can say many things, but how to put it down into a working model, and caring for these employees and valuing them when they are needed. And I think some of the characteristics of this kind of innovative practice should be that we should have faculty or bring in divergent thinking in them, with maybe external consultations, and instead of addressing problems, faculty should be taught to anticipate problems, not after a problem occurs, but anticipate problems. And risk taking. For any innovation, we need to have certain risk taking, and when there is a risk taken, there could be failures. The system should have tolerance for failure, not blame staff for having tried to innovate. So, and there should be flexibility in the way they teach. So the initial few years of implementing is not going to be easy on the system, as well as that is from the governance point of view or for the faculty. But though I have said many of these points, they need to be really looked into how they can be implemented. So at the beginning, I think faculty have to be taken up for regular seminars and trainings, and also modules for each subject. We are talking about modular training, and later when we are talking about credit transfer also, how do you ensure that all colleges and universities are going to teach the same thing, one and the same thing, and are they going to give the ma'am, your volume is mute.
You're muted, ma'am.
I'm just saying that we will come back to the credit question later.
Yeah.
We'll go to the other panelist, Dr. Rati Balachandran. The next question, because the questions will be in 3 rounds, 3 questions in 3 rounds. You may repeat whatever you have said also. The Dr. Rati's question is the NEP focuses on which, though Dr. Lata has already given some, Dr. Lata has, the focus of NEP is on multidisciplinary and integrated programs. What steps are required to achieve this, strengthen this?
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for the question. First of all, I pay the gratitude to all my teachers and seniors who have helped me to grow and be a nurse teacher. And I congratulate all the nurse teachers for the marvelous job they are doing, and also thank the organizers of the day to having me in this panel discussion on the auspicious day of Teachers' Day and on the great topic of national education policy. My experience in the ministry has given me a little more broader perspective for this.
the national education policy has come out for meeting the Sustainable Development Goal 4, and which is giving more focus on the student and the teacher, so that they will be able to explore the knowledge and generate it not only for earning money. It is to bring and synthesize new knowledge and taking India as a Vishwaguru, or to generate knowledge in various disciplines. As the multidisciplinary approach and integration is one of the topic which you have posted towards me. In this national education policy, they are mentioning about the clusters which will be developed, which is of different disciplines. They learn from each other and grow together. Like there are, as Dr. Lata has mentioned, medical colleges has to be there established in every district. And initially there was a restriction that there should not be any other courses in that campus, which has been removed by the ministry. So the medical college, then the nursing college, Ayurveda, and various other things will be there, so that the resources will be pooled and they will understand right from the beginning that how the other discipline works. And it is with regard to the integrated discipline, the thing is that they are mentioned is not to change. Means there are confusions which have been deliberated at various levels. And recently it is mandate that every medical college to have at least 20 hours of yoga in their first year. In our nursing curriculum also, it is mentioned that we have Ayush traditions, because we are taking care of person and their comfort, and we are not limited to any discipline. But the fundamental basic philosophy of each discipline in treatment, whether it is Ayurveda or Siddha, these things, understanding it in the very right time will help us help us the people to take decision according to their choice. So that means without removing the identity of each discipline, giving it in the similar, in a platform, and learning from each other without changing that. That's what it is being focused by the health ministry, especially based upon the education policy. The health ministry and the professional education has been deliberating how we can go in this direction, so that we'll be able to meet the SDG goal of 4. So the professional bodies of all those disciplines have worked together, discussed, and came out with some suggestions, and which are being worked out in detail. One area like simulation is another topic which I have to again talk about. The technology and the simulation based learning, or the digital learning, is another thing which requires lots of investment. When it is like a pool or in a cluster, it can be utilized by all the others and can grow together. That's also another things for this integration. We have psychology, we have sociology, we have economics, finance management, as well as the administration, all as a part of our curriculum. But these competencies were not much mentioned in the medical, which they have again reflected as a part of the educational policy, to at least have these modules to be included in their basic competency-based curriculum. We all are aware that Indian Nursing Council also has come out with a competency-based curriculum, which is having different papers. Some are mandated papers and some are optional. So, and some are self-learning, some are the e-learning. So like that, the efforts have been done by the professional leaders to identify that which can be done in part way, so that there will be flexibility, and the student will be given more freedom to identify and select according to their capability and meeting the objective. I also would like to share my experience as a student of credit and the multiple entry and exit system. When in 1999, when I joined for MBA through IGNOU, there are 21 papers. There are a list of papers. If we identify 4 papers, we'll get a certificate. If we complete 8 papers, we'll get a diploma. And if we complete 12 papers, we'll get a PG diploma. And if we complete the subjects which are specialized for HR or the finance, among that, if we complete 4, then we'll get a PG diploma in HR. And if we complete the all 21, we'll get a MBA. So this is what from that angle, when I am looking into this multiple entry and the multiple exit, what I feel is that we have the specialization courses of neonatology and various other things. Those who have completed that will get that credit, and the rest, like nursing education and nursing administration, if they complete together, they can have that post graduation. So yes, there will be a floating student group. They may not be the same throughout in the class. For each semester, there will be different type of group, and it will be according to the individual that how they will be completing. So I feel it is practical, but it is different from what we are following. So it requires lots of hand-holding for the teachers as well as the students to understand it in a detail. And this policy, national education policy, to me, it is more focusing on the student as well as teacher, and bringing the disparity between public and private to be nullified, and bringing it more to go more in a uniform manner at every district level, with more freedom under a common thing of accreditation and regulation and support funding, etc. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Lata, will you go back to your question on how can we ensure effective governance and leadership? You have talked about that, but
yes, madam. Yeah. So the governance is going to be greatly influenced by the new education policy, especially when the system of accreditation is given more weightage in place of affiliation. And they are going to bring clusters of colleges, multidisciplinary clusters will be created district-wise. And who is going to be monitoring and evaluating the overall performance, and how to ensure uniformity. Uniformity in implementing the education. As of now, we have a uniform curriculum which is implemented, and we have universities, health universities, which is looking after we need to ask them to mute, Yeah. So we have health universities now. Tamil Nadu has got one state university for all health related courses. Similarly, Kerala, Andhra, many states are coming up. So what is going to happen to that structure? What is the role of those universities? Are we going to be disconnecting ourselves from those universities? And are we going to have a system of this multi-cluster accreditation, or a higher education institution cluster district-wise? What is going to happen to the state nursing councils? Are they going to have district-wise registration? Because nurses need license to practice. So the license governs certain standards are being followed by the institution. So who is going to monitor that? Who is going to make sure that the standard of education is being maintained? Now State Nursing Council has got a very huge role. They monitor and they know what is happening in the districts, and they have so many programs which is coming up, which is empowering the faculty, the students. A lot of innovative activities are carried out by the state nursing councils. Of course, we have Indian Nursing Council is also having international collaborations and bringing in a lot of opportunities for the faculty and students across the country. So what is going to happen if we are going to become localized clusters? Who is going to connect all these clusters? How the clusters will be getting connected, and how the clusters are going to complement each other? So all these has to be explored when it comes to professional education. I think this is an overarching policy for arts, engineering, and all kinds of education. for them it is fine. But when it comes to medical and nursing education, which deals with human lives, I feel the regulatory bodies have to be given more of importance, and the control should be in the hands of regulatory bodies. So certain amount of discipline, standardization, and the medico-legal issues which might arise can be handled. Ultimately, when human lives are in danger, who is going to be responsible? Who is going to be accountable if they start functioning in clusters? So that has to be looked into. And yes, that is one of the serious concern. And one more autonomy given us, the curriculum is only one point, ma'am, related to the governance. 70% of the curriculum will be common and 30% is flexible, where the institution can have its own curriculum or the state curriculum can be used. This is one of the recommendation of National Education Policy. So 70% we have to adhere to the common curriculum. So that way we can bring out divide what will be the amount of adherence to common curriculum and 30% flexibility to the local curriculum. So those are going to influence the governance structure and the leadership.
But the National Education Policy has given a tremendous role for the regulatory bodies. They have said, in addition to what regulatory bodies prescribe,
Yes.
in addition to that, these specific things can be there. That, like we said, flexibility can be.
Yes.
That the regulatory bodies have to think how they can apply it. They have not given anything. They have not imposed anything on their professional education, but integration is very important. The integration of allopathic, Ayush, Unani, all those integration, they have
all
talked
those,
about the Ayush point of view, all the integration.
That is required.
Somebody,
and also, madam, accreditation when it comes.
Unani, somebody studies yoga, somebody studies
yes.
Ayurveda. So all those homeopathy and all. See, they have focused on integration of all these systems so that the patients can be treated with integrated integrated curative medicine, or whatever that can be called as. Integration of all our systems, that is also very important, because you see nowadays everybody saying, I will also do this job. Also that will help them to get the jobs.
And Indian Nursing Council is coming up with 1-year course in Ayush nursing. Ayurvedic nursing, not Ayush nursing, Ayurvedic nursing they are starting with. That is one of the welcoming new initiative by Indian Nursing Council. We have for accreditation NAC now, National Assessment and Accreditation Council is there. So many colleges are taking up the accreditation. Again, it is common for all types of institutions. And in the new structure of the National Medical Commission and National Nursing Commission, there is one separate vertical for accreditation, one separate vertical for regulation. So, are they going to accredit all the institutions across the country? And then what is the role of the State Nursing Commission? How they will be doing accreditation? And how these clusters are going to take up accreditation? It's going to be multidisciplinary in nature, multidisciplinary clusters. So these are all the areas where we need more clarity, so that it will become viable and institutions will be benefited.
National Health Ministry and councils have to take all this call.
Yes.
So, and we can.
I think Madam Rati has raised the hand. She has something to add on to the discussion.
Yes, to this only, that like AIMS is not under the Indian Nursing Council, but it is a cluster. It's having different specialization courses running in one building, but it is all the more taking the syllabus. There may be some extra, it takes it to new direction for the nursing education beyond the thing. That's that flexibility of 30% which is mentioned. Even though the cluster is, it is not the same classes, it is in the same campus, the people are learning together, and they will be, it is mainly to reduce the hierarchy and to understand about each other and respect our equality and inclusion was the principles which is mentioning behind this cluster education. But these things can follow their own specific things also.
Yes.
This is what I understood
And
from that.
the affiliation with the universities means those large big colleges will be given the authority of being a university. They will be
Giving the
given
examination and
They
the
are actually
certificates
more
and
than
taking the
3,000
courses and all.
colleges with more than 3,000 this thing. They will have their own university setup. They will serve as a university. So the affiliation is not that university will. They will also have the power of giving the degrees. That is what is so it needs lot of discussions and brainstorming. So we go to another question for Dr. Mini George. How can we ensure optimum learning environment and support for the students? Though she has talked little bit about it, and we can just say, we can be brief because we are running short of time. Kindly be brief.
Yes. Even as we teach students now, many colleges do not have all the infrastructural facilities that they require to support student learning, especially in terms of, say, skill labs with all different types of abilities that we require, especially in clinical training. And of course, various other equipments also. Many institutions, even as we sit in many premier institutions, we still know that we lack facilities that actually we require to help students learn. So all facilities, whether it's of any type of mannequins, whether we are talking about simulation facilities, equipments, even internet, computer facilities, all these are still lacking in many institutions, where students should have easy access to places where they can use computer labs, maybe for typing, maybe for their research work. These kind of facilities are still inadequate. Now that we are talking about NEP, these are things which we need. NEP is focusing on e-learning, mostly on various e-modules. So having those resource materials, CDs, online material, or whatever that we are talking about for online learning, both for the support of the teachers as well as students, needs to be available. Library facilities, round the clock, Wi-Fi connectivities, and all these are the facilities that students require to support their learning, including even their hostel facilities. Okay. Even as we are talking about learning only, they need to be well accommodated. They should be well supported. They should have a good mess facilities if comfortable learning has to take place. So and other facilities are for their all-round development. When we are talking about sports and all associated recreational facilities that students require are inadequate. There are no playgrounds in most colleges. There are no courts, whether you are talking about badminton or whatever it is. There are no facilities for students to be physically active. Okay, so these are, so maybe curricular, we are talking about internet related facilities, as well as for their overall growth and development facilities. We can group them into these three facilities, and all these needs to be upgraded. People don't have funds for it, and these facilities are still unavailable to students.
Okay, can we go to Dr. Rati again? Though she has talked about something about the technology, but we can concisely request her to talk about how can we make use of better integration of technology in our nursing programs.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll continue with what Madam Minnie was mentioning about the facilities and whether it be it internet and by various other. Like this again is mentioning about the pooling of resources, whatever is there available in the district should be accessible for both the private as well as public. And the technology as such means India is again digital. We are leaders in digital in the softwares as well as hardware. So we can take the advantage of that. And during this COVID pandemic, we could see that how digital friendly we become, and the advantages of that is it can be reproduced and the children can learn it at their own pace, and it will be more inclusive. They can do trial and error before putting it on the patients. So that gives them an opportunity for gaining confidence. So these are some advantages of integrating technology with the learning, and we can also help utilize this for helping the critical thinking of the students, problem solving aspects, and even the competencies. So, but as it is cost intense, we can even have that as a tool where it can be utilized by the by irrespective of public and private, or that for the integrated, for the benefit of the student as such to learn. And again, when you're just utilizing this technology for evaluation and teaching, that the preparation of teacher is also very much important. It can be used for preparing games, and it makes the learning more interactive as well as enjoyable. But the teacher's capacity development is an area to be attended, so that they can prepare the games and other things for making a better experience for the students.
Here I would like to say, though we theoretically know all these things are good, India is technologically very well developed. But even as COVID pandemic was going on, private institutions just asked the teachers to take online classes, but that's all. They did not give them any laptops, any facilities. Teachers were scattering around for their own things from their own means. Saying thing is something easier. We have to break down into more doable things, because the ground level fact reality is not so smooth as we think. The ground level is very much different.
Even strategies for having all these things have to be developed, because based upon our experience during the COVID, many things I've learned. We have started tele consultations. We have started digital health mission, where the data of health centers as well as the healthcare professionals all will be captured and connecting it. So many things it is a dynamic things, but whenever there are problems, then the association's role comes to make it feasible and bridge the gap. The policy makers will make those differences provided the inputs and the things come. So there the associations like Teachers Association, Trainers Association, all these things can pitch in and bring that gap, bridge that gap and bring it into the notice of the policy makers, so that teaching learning process will be as expected by the national education policies. We are all moving towards one goal. Different strategies they have laid down as part of a policy, and we are the people who are doing it. So we have to bring this gap evident to the policy makers so that it can be bridged.
That's exactly what I was saying. I mean, NEP is a good thing what they have planned, but bringing it into practical, we have to break down into smaller levels and look at each of the issue and plan strategies to overcome it. And so it needs multi-level discussions at multiple levels.
Vijay ma'am, you are muted.
Aneka Teacher Association can have more and more brainstorming sessions, and then based on that, they can give recommendations what they feel should be done. Then I can go back to Dr. Lata, saying about very briefly about your thoughts on multiple entry and multiple exit in relation to nursing.
Yes, madam. I think initially itself I was mentioning this multiple entry and exit is going to influence the competency development among nurses. So what role they will perform when they are exiting, which settings they will function. Are they going to function in the primary healthcare setting or the secondary care setting, or to work in the tertiary care setting, how many years of preparation is required, And where are we going to accommodate the specialized nurses, specialization? All these have to be addressed. Only one advantage in this multiple entry and exit is nurses can have lateral entry into MBBS. That has been recommended in National Education Policy. So nurses have an opportunity to become doctors if they want through lateral entry. Otherwise, this multiple entry and exit, we have to attach and define the roles which they can perform. Role clarification has to be there. Basic roles, advanced roles, specialized roles. And there should be some regulatory body which makes sure only those nurses are appointed and performing these kind of functions. Otherwise, a 1 year qualified nurse will be functioning in specialized areas. And we want to bring in nurse practitioners. So what is going to be their role? Clarity has to be, role clarity has to be established, and there should be robust system of monitoring and evaluation that it is being adhered in the hospitals. That is required.
We should think of how we can do it. No, it's not that it is coming from there, and we as professionals and teachers have
Yes.
to think what we
Yes,
can.
yes. So we have to,
You can even follow a system where you can have a 4 years training where if you have to then redesign the courses. If we redesign the courses, but that needs a lot of thinking. So if
Yes.
a person completes 1 year, then she can become an ANM. That way it can be done. If we
Yes.
think other way around, rather than giving in isolated capsules, we can think of if a 1 year of degree course is completed, she can act as a ANM in the primary health center. But then you have to redesign the courses of midwifery and community health that will go to the first year. And then if a person completes, if it is a 4-year degree, and if person completes 3 years, like it depends upon the councils, what is the duration. That's why I was talking about duration, structure and design. So duration,
and yes,
1 year,
we also need to,
first 2 years they can keep as ANM, second 3 years they can keep as diploma, and then 4 years we have a degree. That can be thought of, but this is the purview of council which has to be
Yes.
thought. We can
And,
only suggestion.
as of now, we are getting RNRM license. So
Hmm.
are we going to give RNRM license to whom?
No, after completing 4 years or after completing 3 years.
Yes. So then what kind of license will be issued to the people
Then you can give
for
the
completing
basket.
certificate course?
You can
May
have
I?
a basket of this thing.
May I, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, different license has to be
And-
planned. Our recruitment rules have to be reframed.
Yes,
And,
Yes,
yes.
that's to be
Yes.
there even for
Qualification.
how many hours of training is undergone. Like we have under the skill ministry, there is home health assistants who has to undergo 6 months of training, and like that is like a modular things what we mentioned. This many hours, these curriculums are completed, then you will get this type of scope where you will be working as a certified person. If you complete 1 year or 2 years, then you will work as a diploma ANM. Then your scope is only in the primary health center. When you are completing all these subjects, whether it is in 4 years or in 6 years, but you have to complete all these modules to get that license as a registered nurse. And then you can take the job of a registered nurse. So the hours of training as well as the subjects are already mentioned by the regulators or the accrediting bodies, which they have to take it at, they are taking at their own flexibility, but once they complete it only, they will work as a thing. Why I have raised it was mainly to ensure it. There is something called Clinical Establishment Act, which we are never mentioning much about that. Here it should also mention that a nurse who can work as a nursing assistant, who can work as a GDA, or who can work as an ANM, and what are the things to be there, and who can work as a registered nurse. That has to be laid down even in the, that can be incorporated in the Clinical Establishment Act, so that we can have a control in persons who are appointing the people in the clinics.
Yes, madam. As we are going to mandate accreditation for the educational institution, accreditation for the hospitals also must be mandated, where the appointment of these kind of nurses can be monitored and controlled. And also we have to see that now currently the course has to be completed in double duration. For example, BSc nursing can be completed over a period of 8 years. So when we have this multiple entry and exit, what is going to be the duration? Are they a lifelong, or when? What is the cutoff age? Any period we are going to recommend, that also have to be thought of. As of now, only double duration is permitted. They cannot continue the course beyond the double duration of the course. BSc for 8 years, MSc for 4 years, like
Here,
that.
here
So-
we have only one entry. Now you entered as a BSc nurse. What
Yes.
is mentioning in multiple entry and exist is if you enter as an ANM and you have undergone the additional papers, then you can become a registered nurse. Then if again you are having some things you have completed, then you can become a medical officer. So that flexibility is mentioning in the policy, national education policy, but it is up to the ministry and
body.
how it will be and the professional bodies and the professional accrediting agencies who will be deciding to what extent it will be permitted. But the policy gives that flexibility. A person after completing their ANM can do the additional courses and become the
Graduate nurse or
graduate
postgraduate.
nurses. Right now, we have compartmentalized. A
Could be-
person who has joined
could be
nursing
other
as a
way
graduate
round
only
also.
can do.
Dr. Rati, it could be other way round also. If a person joins a degree program, by some means she's not able
Yeah.
to complete the degree.
Complete.
Yes,
That way
that
also
also.
if she finishes 1 year, and because we have to design syllabus in such a way so that if she completes 1 year, she
True.
gets benefit out of it.
True.
But this
They can
happens
get
with
that.
nursing. There are
Yes.
a lot of dropouts in nursing, lot of dropouts as you were also taking. So if
Madam,
we
but
have- if she completes
yeah.
1.5 year, maybe some specialty course that way, but that
True,
has to
true.
be well designed, and that is upon the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and the regulatory bodies. They have to take a call on it, whether they can do it or whether they can.
And the professional bodies and agencies can suggest, give the suggestions and
Yeah, and also sanctioned seats have to be decided, no ma'am. Otherwise, we will not know which student will be dropping out, which student will be adding next year, how many students will
No,
come.
it is
The numbers
that's
also need to be known, no?
ma'am, it is the papers they will be
Ma'am.
taking
Even if
different.
the
It's not that the course
Even
they
if
will be
100
different.
seats are there, even if 100 seats are there, if somebody dropouts, what will you do? If somebody dropouts, you are keeping your system intact, but you are giving them this type of flexibility by redesigning the curriculum.
To be more
return back.
inclusive.
100 out of 100 also people may drop out. Many people may drop out.
Ma'am,
Somebody
if I-
want to
How
take
we
the
will
subject of
decide
third
the
semester.
admission strength?
Ma'am.
Every year we have
joined
to,
the program and we have done some program to give them the credit of what they have completed. So that is the essence of it.
Ma'am, one of my suggestion would be we should take one of these points every day for a discussion, like, because
Yes.
there are so many details which has to be discussed, and we can
yes.
give suggestions
Yes.
to overcome problems.
Okay, we'll go now to the next one. The opinion for credit transfer. What is your opinion, Dr. Mini George? Mini
As
George,
the-
your opinion about credit transfer.
Yeah, as the NEP envisions, we want to bring in more candidates, make education more flexible for them, inclusive for them, especially women candidates who may have difficulty to continue or may want to join another college or university. This should be provided because or the whole reason for why an NEP has been brought in is lost. But then we have a lot of work to do. If we have to transfer credit as we want to do it, there's a lot of work to do because each module has to be, INC has done a very befitting job. They have given a very good syllabus, but each module now has to be prepared individually, and this one should be followed everywhere. It should be ensured that it is followed in every college if credit transfer has to take place. transferring the credit from one semester to another may not be a problem within the institution. But if you're transferring them to another institution, definitely they should be equal at par. And this has to be ensured.
Education policy has talked about ABC, academic bank credits,
Yeah.
academic banking of credit. So whatever credits, I think we will have to do a lot of discussion on the credit
Each one.
management, because then you have to also the institutions. Those institutions have to be accredited to be where you can transfer if it is possible, because it happens a lot of in distance learning system that a student from Kerala takes his counseling sessions in Delhi, and then he wants to go there, and because we didn't allow at that point of time, we didn't allow any credit transfer here, but maybe in future we can think of this.
When we don't allow, sometimes these students drop out. They
Yes.
have no option. But so it should be provided.
Because ABC is also a very good this thing, but it has to be a very regressive monitoring. Has to be.
Yes.
Then we come to Dr. Lati Bala, the last question. That is, what is your opinion about multilingualism? Because the National Education Policy talks about teaching even professional courses, and also the IITs and all, they have started doing the courses in Hindi and some of the courses in this thing. How is it possible for, is it feasible for nursing professionals to start in different languages?
To my understanding, it's already practicing in many of the states. The graduation courses are running in local language. In Gujarat, in Rajasthan, so it's the National Education Policy mentions about multilingualism and bilingualism, and it is emphasizing the language proficiency right from the basic education and education. To me, I think that it is giving more opportunity for the person to get connected with the local persons. And this multilingualism is not only the local language and regional language, it is also the foreign country, for international languages also. To learn as a part of the curriculum. German, Japan are the different places where people, there are great scope. So the persons it gives a flexibility where they want to go, accordingly they can plan. But there is a challenge that to get the teachers for those things, but because of the technology, we have the mechanism to have in different languages also. The way we connect it with the mobile and other things in different language and words. So technology is also there. This helps the person to understand and go into the deep of their mind and get connected with the patients and come out with the new information. Information generation and knowledge generation is possible. That's what I feel, because I belong to South Indian mother tongue. When we feel in a person with the same language, we feel more happy and more close to talk with them in that. And the health and the nursing is really, it has to deal with the people. We find children finding difficult to talk to from Northeast children, find difficult to communicate with the local patients, but they are learning it. So this is what multilingualism is also there. In order to interact with the patients in Delhi, they have to learn Hindi. So they are learning it. So there is a time given for them to learn that multiple languages is okay. But yes, going only in regional language is a challenge. It limits their scope to that area only. But it is happening even now.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we are over. We have completed all the points which we were to be discussed. Though we could get more time for discussing, as Dr. Mini has told, that each one needs to be deliberated, and then some recommendations need to come out out of this. So, but we have done beginning. Let us see what. I'm so thankful to all of you by sparing your valuable time and giving very good points to think over. So with this, I thank you very much. I request Dr. Rimple to give a formal vote of thanks. We have our secretary is not there. He was busy in NAC inspection. So he has given his responsibility to Dr. Pavan Sharma is the secretary for this, and he was supposed to moderate this everything. So he has given responsibility to Rimple to
My heartfelt thanks to our learned panelists for emphasizing how national education policy is going to influence nursing. I hope all our participants would have gained much clarity about the national education policy. And I'm sure that the intriguing discussion carried on would have brought out many points that can be sent as recommendations to Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And Dr. Rati is already with us. So I'm sure that the message that we wanted to convey was clear and crisp. I
Yes,
think
to update that, I have completed my tenure and I am back in Dr. RML Hospital as a nursing faculty.
yes, ma'am. Yes. And there are a few questions also from the participants.
Okay.
One of the participant has asked, instead of the participant has commented that NEP is like kind of creating mismanagement of nursing and is misleading many of the institutions. So this was one of the comment. And
I must make I would like to bring some clarity about that. See, there is a goal, there is a policy, there are strategies. It is not that it is for nursing. It is for the whole country's education policies. There, accordingly, the nursing education will be modified. That's the guiding principle which we have to go where the country wants to make it. So, what are the things extra required? We have a policy of sustainable universal health coverage. We have national health policy. Similarly, this is education policy. So the policy is not only for nursing, or it is not looked only. We have to modify nursing education according to the policies without losing our identity. So that's what I want to
say.
The
policy doc, if the National Ministry of Health and Family Welfare adopts it to some whatever extent they want to adopt, so they will include in their national health policy.
Yeah, it is already there. That's what I was mentioning in many of the things, that to have a nursing college attached in all the medical colleges, to have a common simulation lab, to have integrated practice in the hospitals. For example, in Safdarjung Hospital itself, there is a unit of Ayurveda. Along with that, they are having an integrated practice. So both the both the allopathic as well as Ayurvedic doctors will discuss together and find the things. And the similar things are also functioning in AIIMS. So some research studies are also done together. So these are some integrated practices what they are doing. So it is the Government of India, Ministry of Health is also moving towards implementing the education things as per the National Education Policy. Many of the things have been made, the changes have made, and it is also improving. And there is a vision of Heal by India and Heal in India. This the Heal by India in the sense that to make internationally competent healthcare providers by taking the same principles of national education policy, and also Heal in India to bring the things so that we preparing the persons to deliver the services what is required for the international persons in our own country, bringing them to our country. So this is the guiding principle is the same, and efforts are being done for that, in which there are opportunities for more investment and research. We as nurses can tap this opportunity by bringing the by submitting the proposals and tapping the resources either from the Education Ministry or from Health Ministry or the Science and Technology. There are opportunities. Broadly, the policy give us an outline. These are what the government investing. we have to take that opportunity and utilize it for our profession and for the things. That's what I just wanted to say.
Yes, thank you. Any other question is there, Rimple?
Excuse me, ma'am. May I just? I'm one of
Yes.
the participants, Kumkum. I
Yes.
would like to just emphasize 2-3 things. What I feel I am actually working as a small school of nursing as principal. There are 2-3 things. One is the Madam Lata has already mentioned a service section and the education section. That is very, very important because integration of the service section and the education, because I feel the education and the service section, it goes parallel line. Even in the institute also, the education, the teachers and the administrators, if they do not collaborate, then the outcome of the teaching, it won't come. Second, I must thank Madam Mini, who has actually come out with the module of this, whatever we are just talking about, making of the small modules to deliver, though curriculum is there. But what about the delivery? Whenever we are delivering, the same should be actually given to each one of each student. So what will happen? The outcome will come equal. That is the second point. Third thing, what I would like to tell you regarding the digitization. Yes, digitization, what Madam was telling, Madam Rati also telling, Madam Mini was telling, the means putting into small pieces and deliver. I would like to just give you one of the example. Previously, my tenure was with the Max Healthcare, and during the COVID time, what actually we did it through the Elsevier platform, we made whatever the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Welfare, all the SOPs were actually published. Every day, every SOPs, we made it and we just put it in the portal, made the questions, made my 4,000 nurses to just read and complete. So like that, we got the certification. So these all things, I feel if we all work together, and that nursing will go to the next level.
Sure.
We have to take the opportunity to do all these things. Then that means if we like modules, Madam Mini has told very, very correct thing. Okay, if we just prepare all those things, we deliver them across India, then the outcome we can see the outcome. Otherwise, the delivery curriculum is there. One teacher is telling one thing, second one thing, third one thing. So this is what we are actually lacking. And thank you, all of you. You just listening to you and vast experiences, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice.
So now we have come to the end of the program, and at the end, I take pleasure in proposing vote of thanks. I thank Professor Dr. Pitipal, who's the person behind this program and the one who has who's the inspiration behind this program and who has really helped us a lot in putting up all this together. And Dr. Farooq for his unwavering support. And a big thanks to our 3 panelists who are like the torchbearers of our profession. And at the end, all the participants without whom this discussion would have been futile. So a big thanks to one and all, and happy Teachers' Day again to all.
Must thank to Pawan Sharma also. Thank to Pawan Sharma.
Thank you, madam, for the opportunity. Even we were not thinking in depth about national education policy and its implication for nursing, because you invited as panelists. We did a thorough reading and we developed an understanding. I'm sure there will be appropriate framework which will be developed by the country, and there will be several committees which will be formed inviting suggestions how to restructure. So we can be proactive in sending our comments. We can be ready with the comments by forming small focus groups, and we can have focus group discussions and be ready with our comments to get forwarded from the association. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks all
I
the
second
co-panelists.